Hey there, virtual farmers and builders, how are you doing? Thanks for clicking on the video. Much appreciate that you dropped by for this little how-to guide on building a train with the parts that are available in Garden Paws on PC. Some of the key buildables needed are from having access to the NPC blueprint vendor named Roman, or finishing quests with Frank that are a little later into the game. So this may be a little difficult for brand new players logged into story mode, but creative mode is also an option. And a good option? Just for testing out designs and constructing some stuff for fun. It's got a menu full of freely craftable items, almost everything in the game. The one I'll be working on here is in creative mode, where I've made a lot of other random projects. Every so often I'll log in to see if an idea in my head will work out in the game. If in creative mode, it's useful to grab a jetpack from the tool menu, along with the item shifter to get started for this project. For those unfamiliar with this little device, it helps you target, move, and rotate around objects into more exact positions that you wanted. For story mode players, this project is a moderate grind for the material farm, but depending upon how one wants to decorate, it may take a while to get all of the animals. You'll need plenty of wood, stone, and the recipes in your workbench to make the track and trained cars. Waiting for one day after finishing the quest all about the plot, players will get blueprints for the stone overpass and other craftables from Frank. The wooden tunnel is bundled together with other wooden bridges and ramps. This package can be purchased from Roman in the town of Flores. Search around a bit in your location and where you want to place your train. It will need quite a bit of track if you plan on carrying a lot of cargo cars. The track material I've decided to go with is the stone overpass. We just have one option to go straight with this route by laying down one after another after another. If you're using creative mode, the clone option on the item shifter will save you a ton of time here. It just allows you to select the last overpass that you put down, copy it, and then shift a new one forward to make the process less tedious. Also, you can keep it really uniformly in line. Sometimes the snap when placing assets doesn't always let you put things where you wanted to, but the item shifter can get things to align approximately where you hope to. Once you put down enough overpass to get started, then it's time to move on to the individual sections that will make up a train. An engine, a series of cargo or passenger carrying cars, and perhaps even a caboose. I've got several variations in these train cars, and I'll go through some short sections on what parts those are and how they're done. The base for each part of the train is its connection to the track, the wheels. For this, I've used the mysterious round table from the Potion Paws collection because I wanted this to have a wooden finish to it. But there are other round table options in the furniture menu that would work in its place. Place the table, rotate it around until it's tipped over onto its side at 90 degrees, and then do the same thing going the opposite direction. And yes, to do this, you're going to need the assistance of the item shifter tool, craftable in the player menu. A horizontal pillar between the two makes a bit of a chassis formation. The makeshift wheels can be grouped up together or spaced further apart, depending upon the design of your carrier car. The wooden foundations, or a combination of half foundations, are placed on top of the entire assembly to create a deck. Then the decks can be chained together by either horizontal pillars or wooden foundations to create walkways between cars. One could stop here and start decorating with items like hay bales or crate planters. These train cars could be made as short or as long as you want. The front engine car will need at least a few foundations of length to construct a little shape for the steamer compartment along with a cab. It should be relatively similar to the size of your larger cargo or passenger cars to end up looking to scale. Making a variety of boxcars with assorted decorations can allow for a lot of creative variation. It occurred to me 3/4 of the way through this that a Christmas train would be a fun remix, so I might do that one around that time of the year, mixed into a bigger themed build for the holiday season. To construct an engine car, I used 3 wooden foundations and 1/2 wooden foundation for the base. This left me just enough room to cram a tunnel bridge piece together with 3 short walls topped with another wooden foundation. At the very front end, this creates a small compartment to house the furnace and the oven parts, which will make up the train's smokestack. Once that's done, just line up the wooden tunnel piece flush with the half walls to complete the engine cabin exterior. On the interior, adding some wooden stairs and a half wooden foundation can give your character a conductor's viewpoint. For even more mechanics, underneath it, you can install an oven for feeding this beast. Lots of wood and coal storage wouldn't be a bad idea either. And I'm trying to think of as an authentic train equipment as I can for what's available in the creative item menu. But you can always just stuff planters everywhere. It's great for adding color and vibrance to any build. So, now on to a few of those boxcar option examples. For the covered boxcar, I went with the all wooden tunnel pieces. If you haven't seen these in game yet, don't worry, they're coming straight to your workbench after unlocking Roman's blueprint shop and buying the bridge blueprint set. One of these can fit right over the top of a train car base made with 2.5 wooden foundations. Compared to character or animal size, these have quite high walls, so in order to make the interior of the train cars visible, I put in raised floors on most of these sections using the short walls and foundation pieces, then painting them in the closest matches I could find to the wooden tunnel texture. The best option I found was on the wooden brush, the carved texture, or the one that looks like a rough palm. They still poke out through the tunnel sides, but they do provide a new surface for decor things like the passenger cars or animal carriers. From here, you can go with whatever works for your build to fill it out. On some of them, I went with railings to enclose the ends and a divide down the center to create holding pens for animals. Mostly a barnyard theme now, but maybe in the future we will get more species added to floras and it could be more of a circus train. Adding in feeding troughs and water buckets and some plants to create a more accommodating housing. To get some livestock in here, we just need animal displays that Sierra sells. That way you don't need the entire habitat that many would not even actually fit within this narrow train structure. For more of an open animal carrier, create a base train car and then add wooden fences around the edges to enclose it. Toss in some troughs and a water bucket, some other decorations, and you've got yourself an appropriate little air cattle carrier, or maybe a goat carrier even. This style train car can also be slightly altered for planters instead. The 4x4 plots will fit right in over the top of the foundations, and then wooden fences could be added as railings around the edges. Individual planters can also be lined up to create a wide variety of flowery displays, food cargo, or a fully grown orchard. Okay, last example here, a passenger style car for dining on our fresh from the farm train. In order for the display to be seen from afar, I installed one of those subfloors before getting started. Then I got to work putting in tables and chairs for resting riders. These rooms could be adjusted for any purpose, including sleeping cabins for characters or crates stacked upon crates to turn your entire train into extra storage for all your gatherables. I contrasted it with this workshop boxcar at the back. This one has no subfloor and the items are mostly inside, aside from these decorations on the shelves around the sides here. Hopefully this gives a gauge for how designs might come out looking by the time you're done building up a train. It can be as short or as long as you want. I think there's quite a bit to expand on the train idea. Beyond turning it into a giant storage shed, it could also act as a creative mini farm setup. It could hold mini workshops from the furniture stations that you don't use very often, but you still want to display somewhere. I'm not going to deny it would be amazing if this creation could move. I play so much scrap mechanic and I've become accustomed to having engines and bearings and switches to make things go. But I don't know if that interests you at all, but you can check out a playlist on my channel about it. I'll put a link up in the corner there. I'm not trying to distract anybody from Garden Paws at all. I just thought I would drop a recommendation for the builders in the channel that can't get enough of being creative, but really want to elaborate on what their creations can do. There's more Garden Paws creative ideas and some building guides on the channel. And there's more on the way too. There's a 3-tiered city row of homes and shops, and there's a couple super easy mode builds. And then I wanted to do this advanced builder tips thing, so I got that coming. Even after all that, I feel like building something else. So back to creative mode. Take care, y'all, and bye-bye!